Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor, coming at you to tell you a little piece of my mind. And today we have another candidate for the Board of Education. Miss Angie Vigliotti is from Brunswick area. She's been there about 20 years, and she has her own perspective of why she would want to run for the board and what she will bring to the table if she gets there. So I want you to get to know her and her stance, and I have her here to ready to express her just the way that she thinks to the public. All right. So Angie, can you tell them a little bit about you?
Well, thank you, Mr. Brooks, for having me here today. And um, I'm not a politician, honestly. I'm really not. So this is like a new thing for me. I have been very, very involved with special education for many years. I have a neurodivergent child in my home. Um, he is on the spectrum, and I have been really involved with the schools since he was very young. So, obviously, when the Department of Justice investigation came out, I have been advocating a lot to, revamp the programs in our county to really help the special education part of our system. And not only that, because we are the fastest growing county, I really care about our educators. So I have been advocating, tremendously on trying to get more money for our education budget in the county. Um, and since, a lot of people don't necessarily know the process, I decided to run for the Board of Education to try to help not only parents and people in the community, but also to help, educators. So,
Very good, very good. There's a lot of work to be done on many different levels. You were talking about special education. I have a really big interest in alternative schools. I used to work with children with autism in the spectrums. Well, no longer spectrums, but I've worked with I used to do restraints. I know how to go about it, what the need for you needing to use them or when not to use them. But I want to ask you, what would you do to make some changes in that realm?
well, I do think our special education programs need to be more targeted based on the type of disability that a child has. So, it's very difficult to put uh, children with different types of mental illnesses all together and expect them to have, a good learning environment. So, I really would like us to concentrate more on, being trauma informed for one, and also, focusing on particular disabilities so that we are not just throwing them all together in one room and expecting them to, be able to learn properly. So we really need to like implement a lot more techniques and programs, specialized on the type of disability.
Very good. A lot of people are saying that the ratio between student and teacher is starting to get enormous, where teachers don't feel that they are able to teach. How would you go about solving the problem with the amount of students that are in a classroom?
So, you make a really good point there because I do have a lot of friends that are in the education system, and it is very, very difficult when they have, 35 to 40 kids in a classroom. If a kid raises their hand in the back of the classroom, I mean, they're not even going to be seen. So we obviously need to, there's two types of budgets. There's, a budget for the actual schools and like for building and expanding. And then there's a budget for like educators and the programs and everything else. So really we need to, I mean, I'm in Brunswick, so we have like Brunswick High School that is desperately in need of being rebuilt. And we also need more teachers, and we need teachers that live and work in Frederick County. So we need to be paying competitive wages and trying to retain our teachers here. And we also need to expand our actual physical school system and have, more classrooms. And I don't know if you've ever been to Brunswick High School, but it has a lot of challenges that need to be fixed. So we are really, really trying to advocate and get Brunswick High School rebuilt. But it's just not a matter of just, the building or the classes themselves. We also need to make sure that we are taking care of our educators. And that includes like support staff, custodians, bus drivers. It's not just teachers, though teachers are the ones that primarily are with our children during the day. So we need to make sure that they're able to live in Frederick County and work here.
Very good. And what is your opinion on the 400s? A lot of people have been talking back and forth about gender, about what people's can consider their name. There's been conversations about bathroom use. There's a whole lot of really on opposite spectrums of the conversation. Where do you stand in making changes or leaving the 400s the way they are? What are your thoughts?
So, the 400 series is going to be reviewed by the Board of Education this year, actually. And if, Title 9 gets reviewed at the federal level, then it will force FCPS to actually review that policy 443 sooner, because it would have to be modified to reflect whatever Title 9 says. So based on that, it's not really anything that people on either side should like. I mean, it's going to be based on what comes down from the federal and from the state level for us to do. Um, and that's the job overall, or one of the jobs that the Board of Education, has to entail.
Okay. Um, um, From me being a therapist, I see a lot of emotional problems going on with students. I've seen drug use increase, especially in the bathrooms of middle school and high schoolers. Kids are vaping nicotine. There's vaping marijuana, and parents are. I even had a parent that has their child going to the principal's bathrooms in the front office just because their child just cannot refuse to get high while in school. How would you handle this problem in our school system?
Well, obviously, I mean, mental health is like a big thing, isn't it? I mean, you yourself are in this field. So we really need to be providing mental health services to our students and our staff, not just students, but our staff as well, because our staff get overwhelmed in the education system as well. But if we're not providing, these services for children, especially because after COVID, I mean, all of our children were affected, right? All of our children were in isolation. So that is going to do something to a child's mental health, especially when, their brains are still developing. So we really need to be approaching all of our children, you know, as if they had gone through trauma themselves, because let's face it, it was a pandemic. And some of us that, are older never grew up in anything like this before. We never went through a pandemic when we were children. So, how do you deal with that? Well, I mean, part of it is to be approaching our children as if they went through trauma. So, I think that's a big thing that does need to be addressed in our school system because, like I said, our children are with teachers the majority of the day. So they are being cared for just as much as us as parents, have to care for our children. So those people are leading our children and teaching them. And if they're not approaching our children in the right way, as if they had gone through a pandemic, then, the children are going to have issues. They're going to have problems. They're going to have act out. So this is something that definitely needs to be implemented with FCPS.
Huh. So tell me this. If there was one thing that if you had the opportunity to make it to the board, what is that one thing that you just would have to address before you left?
Obviously, it's special education. There is a committee, for special education itself at FCPS. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the board currently is working very well together. I mean, there's a new Maryland blueprint coming down. There, there are a lot of changes coming. And so, special education is a big thing. It's a big thing for Frederick County, and it would be really, really good if we could be just as have programs just as much as like Montgomery County or some of the, or even like up by Baltimore. They have a lot more resources, especially as far as like research goes and autism and other like disabilities. So if we were implementing more programs, we could be at the forefront of that.
Huh? So tell me this. There's I think 14 people, I think right now running. Why would they want to pick you rather than any of the other people that are the candidates for the Board of Education?
So it's because I actually like, I care. I care about educators, I care about the children, and I want to do what's best for both parties. I want to do what's best for this community. I care about this community. I'm invested in this community. I wouldn't be here this long if, I wasn't. So it's really important for me to like make sure that our children, because these are the people that are going to be running the country someday, These
Uh-huh.
are the people that are growing up. They're going to be working and living in Frederick County. They're going to be supporting our elders someday. So we have to invest in them, and I plan on doing that. And that means like advocating all the way up to the state level.
Very good. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Is there any other topic that you didn't get a chance to express while on here?
No, I think everything has been pretty clear. I care about the system. I really do. And yeah, I don't really have much else to add. I'm so sorry, but
No, no, thank you. I just want to make sure that whatever it is that you have, that the people get a chance to hear. And I think that you've expressed your heart. I think you've expressed what you would do. And I just thank you for using my platform to get it out.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I hope that you will be involved even, if If you're interviewing one of us and one of us gets elected, I really hope that you're going to be involved as well.
Well, I'm always down. Look, if I can, I will be there. I would really like to, to be honest, I think that the alternative school system needs to be worked on because I see a roadmap to incarceration that's not being addressed. And when I used to run a group at the jail. I remember there was 24 men in the group, and I asked them how many people have been in alternative school, and it was literally, I think, 21 out of the 23 had, I mean, 21 out of the 24 people had been in alternative schools at some point in their life. So if you have this captivative audience, why aren't you helping them change the criminogenic thought patterns that would increase their chances to be incarcerated? So I do have a lot of opinions. I just don't have the time to go back and run again. But I do commend everybody for throwing their name in the hat, and I just wish everybody well in their race.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I definitely would like to talk to you more like when you get time. I know we're both busy people with our children, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.